Welcome to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BartenderHQ. Here's your host, David Eden-Sangwell.
Hi guys, welcome to the BartenderHQ.com podcast from the new studio, which isn't quite finished, but I wanted to just show you this anyway. So, what we're going to talk about today? Today I want to go through a little bit about Flair bartending and how you can actually do filming of Flair bartending and make it look really, really good on your own. You don't need any specific equipment. Everything that I've done so far has been on iPhones, and it's been on iPads, iOS devices. My podcast used to be shot actually on the iMac using the built-in camera. In the new studio I'm actually using the iPhone to take the video footage because it's a little bit of a better camera, so hopefully that's going to make a bit of a difference as well to the quality of the podcast and the videos that we're going to be producing here. Now, as I say, the studio isn't quite finished yet. There will be a TV going up on this wall right here. That's going to make a big difference, and we're going to be able to put up graphics while we're actually doing the podcast and that sort of thing. One of the big advantages of the new space, and it's not actually a new space, it's the same room that we used to film in, but it's been completely turned around, so everything's far, far more efficient now. And one of the big advantages now is that I've actually got room to grab a bottle and throw it around in here, show you guys some moves. So we can actually do some tuition videos in here. It's going to make life a lot easier for all that sort of thing. So, just to give you a quick tour of the office, the way that it's set up is we've got one camera right in front here, which is the iPhone 6 Plus. That's my normal everyday camera. And then we've got a second camera over here, which is what we call the B-roll camera. If I grab that, what I'm going to do is just stop that, switch it around, and we'll give you a view of what the other side of the office looks like. So this is what I am looking at. This is what I'm looking at while we're filming. So you've got my Mac set up there, you've got the tripod which is set on my desk, iPod 6 Plus, and going into there you've got the lightning cable and my lavalier microphone, which is this one just here on my chest. The iMac behind it has got lightning cable connected directly into the iPhone 6 Plus, so that gives me the opportunity that I can basically see exactly what is going on, what's going on the screen, on the main camera, without having to worry about it. Now, the advantage of the B-roll camera, which is actually on an iPhone 5, that's my previous iPhone, all I did was got hold of a free SIM card, pop that in, you can activate the phone, and then you can use it as if it was an iPhone, like an iPod Touch. You get access to all the cameras, and you can do whatever you want with it. From that point of view, you can use it purely on Wi-Fi if you want. You don't have to have any bills. So that's all I've done with the old camera. That has become my kind of backup. That gets me and B-roll footage, which is what I referred to earlier. B-roll is basically where you take an extra angle, and that allows you then to do any cuts that you need to in the video. Now, if we are talking about filming Flair bartending, obviously when you're filming your best moves, you are going to have the occasional drops. If you've got a B-roll camera, which is a second angle going, then you can quite easily cut away just before you have a drop, or you can put extra bits of the different angle in at other times. I'll pop up in this corner, actually this corner just over here, some of the footage that I took last week. This was from the Kryptonite cocktail video that I've put up on YouTube, and that's also gone on the Facebook page. These are things that I've done for the Reflex nightclub that I work with, and these little bits that we've taken footage of, we're then using, we can kind of cut between the B-roll footage and the main footage to make the whole routine longer if we want, to make it shorter, to take out any drops, anything like that. You can restart a routine from one move, and in mid-flow you can cut from one shot to another and take out any drops. Now, I don't tend to drop a lot for that because I don't do particularly hard stuff when I flare. It's not through massive amounts of skill, it's purely knowing what I am capable of doing and only really doing that. So while we were doing these things, I didn't actually have any drops during the filming. What we did have was a couple of fumbles, things like going to a stall and it just toppling off of your hand and you catching it and then carrying on into your flow. That's pretty much how you'd be working if there was a problem and you dropped something during an actual working shift. That's kind of how you generally deal with it. So that just gives you an idea of kind of the sort of thing that you can do. Right, lighting, you may have noticed when we went to the second camera, there are a couple of lights down here. Now these are just mains operated, they're very cheap. They actually came free with a light box that I bought for doing photography. I think the whole kit was somewhere around 20 quid. And that came with the stand that the iPhone 5 for the B-roll is on. It came with the 2 lamps and it came with the light box with different backgrounds as well, which is great if you're actually photographing cocktails. And that's what I bought it for. However, the lights have ended up being used a lot more in here for things like filming, and it just basically, I shoot them up at the ceiling and it gives me a nice sort of ambient light. If I had these down, I'd have really harsh shadows behind me. As it is, bouncing them off the ceiling, I get a decent sort of overall light of the whole place, and yeah, that works quite nicely. Now what we are planning to do, if I actually grab the B-roll camera again just for one moment, what we're planning to do is, coming soon, we have got, if I just come over to here, we have some LED strips which we're going to be using to set up in the office as well. Now these are colour changing LEDs, they will work quite nicely for any sort of filming. They'll give a nice ambient light. We can use them for whites to just fill the scene nicely. We can use them for colours if we want some sort of effect. We can have chasing sequences going on with this sort of thing, all that sort of stuff that will just, because we've got nice white walls in here, that pretty much means we can light it however we want and it will look pretty good. So yeah, that's sort of part of phase 2 that's coming. I've also got a nice battery operated LED lamp, which is a round one. It's got a whole bunch of white LEDs around the outside, a little cluster in the middle as well. It uses just AA batteries, so you can pretty much use that anywhere you want to give a nice light, and that's probably going to be mounted underneath the tripod to light my face and give it a kind of a bit of a lift. So yeah, I mean, we've concentrated a lot more here at the minute on sort of camera stuff and that kind of side of Flair stuff, but it's very important because there's a lot of people out there that really want to be able to film some good Flair stuff. The other thing that I would recommend, if you've got the opportunity, is get outside. Get outside, especially cell phone cameras. They will have so much better performance when you're outside. I'll put up on the screen some of the footage here of me doing the high speed video, slow motion flaring. Now this was shot outside. Again, it was on the iPhone 6 Plus, which can shoot 240 frames a second, and then you can basically play it back at normal frame rate, and that slows it down to 1/10 of its speed, which is why it looks so cool. The problem with this, with Flair bartending, is a lot of the bars that we work in are poorly lit. They look beautiful when you come in, it's a lovely atmosphere, lovely ambience and that sort of thing, and that's very important. But when you're actually filming Flair, you need to be able to get as much light into that camera as you can. So it's very important to light stuff, and if you have got one of the latest iPhones that can do this high-speed footage, brilliant, make use of it, it looks stunning. But what you also need to do is bear in mind that you really need to flood whatever scene you are shooting with light. It does make it also a little bit tricky. With these lamps that I've got here that I've just showed you guys, they flicker. They flicker at about 60 Hertz, so 60 times a second. Which means if you're shooting at 240, you're going to get a really kind of stroby look to your Flair, which is not really what you probably want. If you can shoot outdoors, or if you can use battery-powered lights, or if you can use probably LED lights in general, you will get much better results, and it will look nice and smooth and cool. So that's pretty much it, I think. The only other thing I'll mention, I'm using a lavalier microphone. I do normally use a big blue microphone, a Snowball, which is desk mounted. That's for when I'm doing the podcast in general. So hopefully the sound quality won't be too much different this week. Also, it does seem like the office is a little bit more echoey at the moment. There is a lot more stuff that's going to be going up on the walls. As I say, there will be the TV going up, there will be some posters, there'll be some of the artwork that I've created for nightclubs will probably go on the walls as well, and potentially some of my geeky comic book stuff, because I love it and it's my office, so that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, any questions? If any of you guys need to know anything else about filming Flair, please do get in touch with me. Drop me an email, david@bartenderhq.com. I'm not an expert in filming, but I've kind of learned a little bit through what I've been doing purely for this Bartender HQ site. It's not something that I've done before particularly. Again, even the presenting to camera and stuff like recording the podcast is not something that I've done before. So if you guys have got any suggestions, or if you've got any questions and anything that I can help you out with, I would be delighted to. If you want to learn more about the camera stuff, I do recommend going over to DIYvideoguy.com. And this is a guy who works with a guy called Pat Flynn, runs one of the most popular podcasts in iTunes, and he's his videographer for his Smart Passive Income TV channel that he's just started. So his stuff is great. He's got a course on there if you really want to get into your video and you get your video really good. He is a guy to check out. I'm seriously considering parting with some money for his video series. But as I say, if you've got any questions, shoot them over to me. If I know it, I will do my best to answer it. If I don't, I will try and find out for you. Get over to bartenderhq.com. I would love it if you signed up for the mailing list. There's not a massive amount that I send out to people, but when we've got things like this new studio, I'm going to let you guys know. When we've got things like new Flair stuff going up, when we've got competitions coming up, when I'm going to be at conferences and that sort of thing, where we can meet up and we can have a beer or a cocktail together. So I'd love to get to meet some of you guys, so get over there, sign up for the mailing list. You get my list of 10 killer cocktails for free. That comes as an ebook format, which you get straight away. If you don't want the rest of my emails, fine, no problems, click the button and I won't send you anything else. Also, follow us on Twitter. I've finally cracked the 100 mark, which I've been trying for far too long. We've got about 900 of you guys over on Facebook, but come along and join in over there as well. I'd love to talk to some more of you. And until next time on the BartenderHQ.com podcast, I'm David Sangwell, your host, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BartenderHQ.